What's going on, you guys? This is Aaron from Departures Capital and welcome to the video. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Copper Crunch and a company founded by some serial winners who are making a big play in the heartland of copper, which is Chile. We're going to be going over the company, introducing it to you guys, taking a quick look at how the stock has traded along with some interesting facts on copper. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I sure learned a lot when shooting this video, and I hope you guys do as well. Also, for full disclosure details, this is a sponsored video. So a third party sponsored this video on behalf of Torq Resources. Check the description down below for full disclosure details, along with thoroughly reading our disclaimer and always remembering that these videos are not financial advice. So with that being said, let's get talking on copper. So first, let's take a look at the history of copper. So thousands of years ago, Cyprus reigned as the undistributed copper capital of the world. The tiny island had so much copper that people barely had to mine for it. They could simply pick it up off the ground like seashells. And the chunks of copper were so pure they could be used without smelting. The island became so identified with the metal that the word copper is derived from the Greek word Cyprus. Copper was used in everything from tools to armor, from weapons to infrastructure. Control of Cyprus and its crucial supply of a metal could dictate the fate of empires. Copper was essential for the global economy and still is today. Copper is widely acknowledged as a bellwether metal for the global economy. Today, Chile has taken over as the new copper capital. This global illness stalled the global economy last year, and there was a worldwide dip of 3.5%, which is pretty significant when it comes to, global supply. This year, we're shaping up to a slingshot effect, and the IMF predicts there will be a massive bounce back in 2021 of 5.5%. This has set the stage for a copper surge. Recently, the price per pound of copper has shot up from $2.25 US to roughly $4, and this is just the beginning. So, billionaire mining financier Robert Friedland said it best: you're going to need a telescope to see copper prices in 2021, and I've heard that before. So copper is still used in almost everything. It's no longer tools, armor, and weapons driving demand. It is from construction, electronics, and increasingly electric vehicles. So let's talk about copper moving forward. So why is copper, why could the price potentially increase from here? So one of the major reasons behind the increase in copper demand is the adoption of electric vehicles. Deloitte projects an annual growth rate of 29% every year for the next decade. That's going to equate to over 11 million electric vehicles in 2025 and 31 million in 2030. So let's take a look at the global long-term passenger vehicle sales by drivetrain. So as we can see, the internal combustion engine, that's coming to an end. Plug-in hybrids are increasing, but the sweet spot is battery electric vehicles, and that's set to continue to increase. Electric vehicles are set to dominate the new car sales market in the next 2 decades. The problem that most aren't aware of is that electric vehicles require upwards of 10 times the amount of copper as an internal combustion engine. So if you have millions of new electric car sales and each car requiring about 180 pounds of copper per vehicle, that equates to a lot of demand for copper. It's expected that in the next 25 years, we will need to mine as much copper as we have in the past 5,000 years in order to meet demand. So basic economics, supply and demand, the way that things are going with electric vehicles, among many other things, electronics, it's looking pretty good for copper. So Goldman Sachs has even sounded the alarm and stated the copper market is now in the cusp of what we expect to be the largest deficit in a decade. Copper demand is headed straight up and copper supply will begin to shrink. So now let's take a look at the copper forecast. Global copper production versus global copper consumption. So consumption is set to increase and continue to increase dramatically. Meanwhile, production, it's not looking too good. So what does that usually equate to? Higher prices. Basic economics, supply and demand. The reason why supply is shrinking is that the average grade of copper in global reserves has been in free fall for 2 decades. It obviously makes sense for a company to mine the higher grade materials, and then when reserves dwindle, they gotta take what they can get. So world copper production versus reserve grade. So here we can see, guys, the reserve grade has been, dropping dramatically. Meanwhile, annual production has been increasing. All of the high-quality copper deposits are being mined out, and the lower-grade deposits that are left will be much more costly to mine from. The major copper producers are going full tilt on what they do best: produce copper. There's a massive need for new copper discoveries, and this is good for copper exploration companies, but the problem is finding the right company to invest into. As we know, one of the few things that the major financiers and investors in the mining sector all agree on is backing the right people And we know that the management team is crucial to basically every company's success. It's one of the most important things. It's the foundation of, what differentiates a solid company versus a mediocre company. Success breeds success, and winners tend to keep on winning. A winning team will be able to know when to walk away from a project with little promise and put extra effort into the most promising ones. So some comparable, successes: Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Wayne Gretzky, and Mark Messier, Tom Brady, and Rob Gronkowski. So in the mining world, the team behind Torq Resources has gone 3 for 3 with delivering wins for the shareholders, and their fourth company, Torq, is doing all the right things to make it another potential success. A bit of history on the team behind Torq. Back in 2005, while still in their early 30s, Ivan Bebic and Sean Wallace co-founded Keegan Resources. It became Galano Gold and went on to discover 5 million ounces of gold in a very tough time for the industry. As the company shifted from exploration to production, it was a horrible time to be a gold miner. The companies failed. Most companies failed, but they pulled through. When capital dried up and a buyout was not in the cards, they brought in a strong management team to take the project to the next level. Now that project is on track to produce 250,000 ounces of gold per year through their JV with Goldfields. Then they went on to form their next company, Keegan Resources. With the stock trading around 30 cents, they acquired a project in Mexico and began drilling. The stock surged close to $5 in just a few months. 100 holes later, they sold the company to Agnico Eagle Mines for $205 million. That was a 15-bagger in the blink of an eye. Most people don't get to own a stock that goes up that much in a lifetime. All these young all-stars did that in a matter of months. That was 2 big scores for their early investors. Ivan and Sean churned out both before they were even 40. Their most recent win was gathering high-profile gold assets under the umbrella of Iron Resources, now Fury. They developed the assets, brought in solid management teams, and spun out the assets into their own companies. Fury shareholders in the fall of 2020 found themselves owning stock in 3 separate companies: Sombrero Resources, Tier 1 Metals, and Fury Gold Mines. And we have covered Fury Gold Mines before. So for Torq, they have brought in a technical team with over 100 years of experience in Chile. As we talked about, management is very, very important. They also brought Michael Kosawan on board as president and CEO. Michael was mentored by a legend in the business, Rick Rule, one of the most successful resource financiers in the world. We've talked about Rick Rule many times on this channel. This team is in the right region to find the next major copper discovery. They've assembled a solid team who know what top-tier projects look like, and they recently announced their first project in the region. That's the Margarita project. So here is a picture of the Margarita project. You guys can take a look. Also head on over to their website, that is torqresources.com, for more information. You can easily find their investor presentation right there on the website under corporate presentation. Simply just click on it and you'll find it right there. So 1,045 hectares on the prolific coastal Cordillera Belt. Margarita is a mothballed project once owned by a billionaire and forgotten about it. It was left untouched for years with minimal exploration work done. But as the pictures show, there's plenty of visible mineralization at surface, hinting at the potential for a much more lucrative find underground. So here is their copper oxide mineralization at their Margarita project. They have a large war chest of over $6 million US to take this property to the next level, and Sean Wallace has stated, Margarita is the first in what will be a series of acquisitions of high-quality copper-gold exploration projects with district-scale potential in Chile. Finally, I want to talk about the share structure, which I feel is very important, especially when it comes to skin in the game and insider ownership, which we've talked about many, many times. So close associates, management, and private/retail investors, we can see the breakdown. The share structure of the company is also really tight, with management, insiders, and close associates owning 55% of the shares outstanding. This sleeper company is starting to make some major moves, and the market is yet to wake up. I've attached a link to an in-depth report on the company in the description if you want to find out more on Torq Resources. So that's a simple introduction to the company, guys. Take a look at their website. That, of course, is torqresources.com. You can see all their projects there. You can see their investor presentation under the corporate presentation tab. Take a look at the research report that was included in the description down below. And always remember, guys, this was a sponsored video. So this video was sponsored by a third party on behalf of Torq Resources. Check the description down below for full disclosure details, along with thoroughly reading our disclaimer and always remembering that these videos are not financial advice. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate you watching. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'm out of here, guys. Always remember, Departures Capital and Departures stocks are for information, education, and entertainment purposes only. Don't buy or sell a stock because you heard it on here. Buy or sell a stock because you've done your research, you've done your thorough due diligence, and you're making your own personal investment decisions for yourself. This video is not financial advice. We'll see you guys in our next video.